Hi there, everyone. Welcome. This is Lotus, and this is Art of Sacred Embodiment. So, what do we do at Art of Sacred Embodiment? Art of Sacred Embodiment, its main purpose is to bring all of you home to yourself. Bring yourself into a sacred empowerment where you can access and navigate your personal growth, your spiritual development phases and stages along this awakening journey to maintain and know where you're in your own divine alignment, where you're grounded and rooted, where you're able to access your intuition, your deeper knowing, where you are also able to come into relationship with everything in this life. So, relational intimacy is a foundation of everything that we do here. And when we talk about relational intimacy, we're really working with the feminine path. We're really working with that feminine trajectory that connects us to the feeling centers, the intuitive centers, being in communion with oneself and others, and also allowing the sacred masculine aspects of us and life and how we move through the world to come in and marry. But it's really about the embodiment and the somatic and the wisdom that we carry, not just in our mind, but in our full being, and really very much so in the body. The way that I help people through all of this is through specific templates that I work with. So the initial foundational phases, if you're just stepping onto this awakening journey, or maybe you need a little reboot, or you've gotten to a certain point and now you're not really sure exactly how to make sense of everything that's happened, I work with what I call the 4 Sacred Keys of Ascension. So these are 4 phases and stages that we don't work with anything linearly because life isn't linear, right? We learn, we integrate, and then we revise and we refine and we relearn on next level higher understandings and awarenesses. So within the 4 Sacred Keys, the very first thing is learning how to bring all of you into your body, sacred grounding and centering, coming down, connecting to those lower centers, bringing your energy that the world will tend to scatter and pull us out of our center through all of the energies that work for us and against us. And we learn to center, to ground, to come into our own voice, to come into our own deep knowings on a soul level that are deeply connected to divine source. The second phase of 4 Sacred Keys is falling into love with oneself, falling into self-love. Self-love is the balm to any healing process, whether that be trauma, whether that be past life experiences, whether that be phases and stages where we've divided from ourselves, or there are things about ourselves that maybe there's shame or guilt, that shadow aspect. We really work with deepening self-acceptance by knowing and understanding everything that we've been through without judgment, or labeling right or wrong, good or bad. Coming into self-honor and self-love. that then begins to trickle out into all of our choices. It informs the choices that we make and allows us to make choices that serve us in a higher expression that will continue to uplift us and open us up to our own divinity. The third phase is divine aligning. Divine aligning is really learning to merge our will with divine will. Again, it's that next level of learning and navigating higher choices, listening inside to divine guidance, really connecting with your own soul's knowing, and continuing to divinely align through everything that we do so that we stay centered and grounded and rooted. The fourth phase of this is activating your divine blueprint. So when we're talking about our blueprint, we come into this world in this lifetime with very specific codings, and there are mapping systems like astrology that give us information of our blueprint. And that can be one level of understanding who we are, what our strengths are, what we're here to do. And then as we activate further, there are layers and layers upon layers that turn on every time we divinely align into a next level of our own development and our own awakening process. So this also begins to introduce us to our own higher self expressions. Those higher self aspects of us that are a part of our soul, they are soul fractals that support and align us and guide us into knowing ourselves more deeply. So the 4 sacred keys of ascension is this introductory phase, and yet we revisit them consistently. For me, they're very foundational, and I utilize that specific template ongoing through all of the work. The next juncture that we're going to see more of if you look at my website is really focusing on the next leveling that we're at right now. As a collective, we're being called into deeper relationship with all of life. So we're expanding from our personal into a larger interconnectivity, more unconditional, more collectively oriented. And this, for me, I work with, the spiral mapping template and system. And this again takes us deeper into our self, relationship with self, relationship with others, accessing our own truths so that we can be in integrity and right alignment with ourselves and with others. All of our relationships, whether that's family, significant others, our workplace, our community, our close friend group. And this definitely streams off of the 4 sacred keys. The next layer, the next spiral, which is why I call this the spiraling, is we begin to learn how our relationship with Mother Nature and the earth and all of the beings support us in riding these waves of this awakening process, really grounded and knowing that we're supported by life. We're supported by the animals. We're supported by the trees, the flowers, all of the growth and the abundance on this planet, the waterways, the mountains. When we start to expand this relationship, we find solace. We recognize that we have many allies that also have a very high consciousness that we can begin to tap into once we're grounded in the initial foundational stages. So we come into relationship with all of nature, and then we spiral and we come into recognizing that while we are very much attuned, most of us, to the importance, our connection to the environment, our connection to the earth, now we're being called to recognize our place in the heavens, the role that humans play in a much bigger arena in the cosmos, in connection with the stars, the moon, and other celestial bodies. We're recognizing that the interconnectivity that we have on this earth also extends to our planetary systems through the galaxy. And we learn to commune with these subtle consciousnesses, the wisdoms. And again, they become our allies, our support, remembering us to even deeper and higher levels of understanding of who we are. And intrinsically, as we go through layers and levels of this, we begin to innately know that we are a part of Source, the God, the Goddess, divine light, love, and life with the capital L. We are guided, we are supported. There is something much bigger that we are always interfacing with. And by sensitizing to these next levels, we begin to commune more effortlessly in ways that bring us higher awareness, more vitality, more vibrancy. We begin to heal on very deep cellular levels and mitochondrial levels by doing and working with these elemental expressions of life. So it's very beautiful. I love it for sure. And I love this next leveling that's just continuing to bloom and awaken for so many people. And it's also continuing to unfold so much more information. New sciences is birthing from this next level that we are encountering with the heavens and the earth in communion. This is another form of marriage. The next level that we work with is romantic relationships, significant others. Our relationships on our planet are shifting. How we operate within our own inner masculine and feminine expressions, and the old paradigms of how romantic relationships have been and how they're evolving into as we evolve. So this is great for whether you are not in a relationship and you're single, or you're in a relationship that is going through an assessment phase, or you're wanting to deepen more, or how do you come into deeper intimacy? How do you find that alignment? And maybe that alignment is no longer there in the old structure. And how do we consciously be in relationship with one another through a heart center, through understanding personal needs of both, honoring through self-love ourselves, so that we can then come into an honoring relationship with each other and make the highest choices for both. So I do this working with individuals as well as couples. And then the next phase of this work is holistic movement. And it's the embodied present movement practice that is still really coming online. And the more that we are bringing in a lot of these higher energies, that we're descending them, calling them home into us, these higher light frequencies, they need to be integrated. They need to be moved through so that they land and anchor down to our cellular and mitochondrial level. And there are many forms of movement that, movement in general is really important. And the way that we work this with the movement is very organically and holistically, meaning all parts of our body are getting fed and nourished through a variety of movement forms. And we work with the nervous system, the fascia, as well as the lymph system, so that we're really releasing what no longer is needed to make space for the grace of more life and light and that love to pour through us, and to expand our energy centers and our whole energy body more fully into the light body that is slowly part of the evolutionary process that we're going through. All of these phases and stages of development have different practices, different principles that we work with, have different embodiment modalities that I work with, as well as new perceptions. I bring forth questioning, inquiry, new perspectives and perceptions that are important for sort of shaking old programs loose so that we can expand and really check in on deeper levels to what is our truth, phase by phase by phase of our process, what has been our truth up to certain points of our lives and where we're going. I also help people to connect the dots, the thread, the themes through their life for deeper breakthroughs and deeper understandings of the path and the journey that you're on, and how to keep tuning to that so that it's easier to stay in alignment, in that divine aligning, and recognizing your higher blueprints that activate consistently, that as we evolve and as we come into our truer essence, as we become more refined, can help to really introduce us and lead us and let us know where we're in our highest purpose for any given point, and what needs to continually unravel from that thread in order to keep elevating and knowing and grokking where our next phase and stage is in every now moment. All of this is done through deeper embodiment work, knowing thyself as the foundation, and then coming out from that space and place, from a place of wholeness where we can really live our lives from here, choice by choice, with a sacred presence, where we are an embodied presence, living with higher frequency, more joy, more peace, more love, more playfulness, more freedom, more coherent and in balance and harmony with all of life. So if this calls to you at all, I would love to connect with you. Please, you can contact me on the website. You can contact me at Art of Sacred Embodiment.net. You can find me on Facebook. And I will also I will also post the 4 sacred keys information on that in this YouTube video so that you can kind of take a gander and see where you might be at in your own journey and what resonates with you. So, blessings, have a wonderful journey, and I hope to meet you soon. Be well.